What's up, guys? I just wanted to talk a little bit about loss and like some of the things that kind of go along with that. Loss has a way of revealing just how powerful love really was, because you don't feel that kind of pain unless something truly mattered. And when something is gone, you start to understand the depth of what you once had, and that realization changes you. Um, you start to realize how much those things truly mattered. And, a lot of people, there's that old saying, you don't know what you got until it's gone. And that's so true. Love isn't measured in time, it's measured in impact and makes that clearer than anything else. The absence of someone teaches you just how present they were in your life. You begin to notice all the little things that you once overlooked. And those small moments suddenly feel priceless. And, loss doesn't erase love, it magnifies it in ways you never expected. When you lose someone, you start to realize how much you truly loved them and how much the memories you have together truly mattered. And, the memories that hurt the most are often the ones that prove how deeply you loved. And, they are something to be cherished. You start to realize that love was never just about the big moments, but the quiet, everyday ones, And those little simple times and those little simple moments, we look back and, like, I remember when my parents got divorced or whatever, I kept thinking of this one memory where my dad he gave me these little jelly filled cookies. And for some reason, that little tiny memory hit the hardest. Loss teaches you that love is fragile and that fragility makes it even more valuable. And, you carry love differently after loss, more carefully, more intentionally. It changes the way that you treat people because you know how quickly things can change. And you stop taking time for granted because you've felt it, and you felt what it's like to run out of it. And, love becomes something you actively show, not something you assume will always be understood. And loss reminds you that love isn't guaranteed. And that realization makes every moment matter more. And, when you are spending time with family and you are spending time with loved ones, the fact that life is finite and that everything is temporary, it really helps to push you towards making more time for those people and making more memories. You begin to appreciate the people who are still here in a deeper, more meaningful way. And the pain of loss becomes a reminder of how lucky you were to experience that love at all. And, you learn that love doesn't disappear when someone is gone. It just changes form, and you will keep that love with you forever throughout your life. My grandma passed away, and, me and my mom and my brother, every time we saw a butterfly, that would remind us of her. And we felt like that was a sign from the universe, that, our grandma was still around in some form, just in a different life. And it was beautiful. But love, it lives in memories, it lives in habits, in the way you carry yourself moving forward. And loss makes you more aware of how important it is to say what you feel while you can. You stop holding back your love because tomorrow isn't promised. Love becomes something you protect, nurture, and it's something that you're going to express more openly. You realize that even the simplest moments shared with someone can become the most meaningful. And loss teaches you that love is not about perfection, but presence. You begin to value connection over everything else. And, the people you love become your priority in a way that they may not have been before. And you understand that love is the most important thing you can give and receive. And, love can change lives, and it can really make the difference between whether a moment is a good moment or a bad moment. And when you resonate with love, it tends to make those moments good moments. And, loss strips away what doesn't matter and leaves you with what truly does. Loss is going to reshape your perspective. And making love the center of everything is what you're going to do. And you start to cherish conversations, you start to cherish laughter, and even silence with the people you care about. Love becomes something you don't just feel, but you actively practice every single day. Loss reminds you that every goodbye matters because you never know which one is the last. You hold on to people a little tighter. Not out of fear, but out of appreciation. The depth of your grief reflects the depth of your love, and that's something meaningful. You begin to see love as a gift, not something you're entitled to. Because love truly is a gift, and it's something to cherish, and it's not something to be treated like an object. It's something to be treated with respect and dignity. Loss makes you more compassionate toward others, because you understand pain on a deeper level, and you realize that everyone is carrying something, and that love can help lighten that weight. It changes how you show up for others, making you more present and attentive. And, being present and attentive, you're going to start to actually get into the nitty gritty of every moment. And you're going to be a better father, a better brother, a better sibling, because you know how things are finite, And, love becomes less about words and more about actions. With love, you can listen more, you can care more, and be there in ways you weren't before. And loss teaches you that love is worth the risk, even if it leads to pain. Because the alternative, never loving deeply, is going to feel far worse. You begin to embrace love fully without holding back. The fear of loss doesn't stop you. It motivates you to love harder. And you understand that love is what makes life meaningful, even when it hurts. Loss becomes a teacher, showing you what truly matters in the end. And, like when I lost my grandma, it hit really hard, but it really taught me to cherish the people that I still do have in my life, and to cherish the moments that I had with my grandma, that much more. Because, life is finite, and we really need to take the time to, look around and really spend as much time as we can with the people that we love, and to let them know that they matter, and to, for me, I'm leaving all of this behind for my family. That way, when I do pass away, this is all born, I'll have left something behind, but this is all born from that. It's born from love. I'm making these videos for my family and my friends. And, it is really cool, the few fans that I've made along the way, and I share, I love them as well, because they make this such an awesome experience, and I'm just really happy to be able to share this with you guys. And I really hope that I can help open some eyes and really get you guys to realize how much those things truly matter. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Thank you guys so much for the support, and you've really made this an awesome experience. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, because this is my passion. And that's another thing is, hold on to your passion and use your passion as a way to connect with your family if you can. That's kind of what I've done with my channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.